Okay, we've got some breaking news coming straight from the AI front. A brand new challenger, Kimi K2.6, has just stepped into the ring. And folks, it's not just competing, it's completely rewriting the rules of the game. Today, we're doing a deep dive into this open source model that is forcing the industry giants to really pay attention. So let's get right into it.
So here's the headline, the big takeaway. For what might be the first time, a widely available open source model isn't just playing catch-up anymore. It's actually taking the lead. And it's doing it on the home turf of the big guys, complex enterprise coding. We're talking about something called agentic tool use, where an AI acts like a real software engineer, navigating entire code bases, running tests, fixing bugs all by itself. This is a massive deal.
And here's the part that'll make your jaw drop. This cutting-edge, top-tier performance comes with a staggering 95% cost reduction compared to the big proprietary players. This isn't just a small step forward, it's a fundamental shift. This could literally democratize access to elite AI for developers and companies everywhere. So the big question is, how on earth is this even possible, right? How can an open source model give you this incredible performance and be that efficient? Well, the secret sauce is really in its architecture. Let's peel back the layers and take a look at what makes Kimi Q2.6 tick. So the core idea here is something called mixture of experts, or MOE for short. And the analogy on the slide is perfect. Think about it like having a huge team of specialists. Instead of one giant generalist brain trying to know everything about everything, an MOE model has this massive team of different experts. And for any problem you give it, it intelligently picks and activates only the experts it needs for that specific job. It's just incredibly efficient. And this right here, this slide just shows you the payoff. Look at these numbers. So a traditional dense model might have 1 trillion parameters, and it uses all 1 trillion for every single task. Kimi also has 1 trillion total parameters, but for any given task, it only activates about 32 billion of them. That's a 97% reduction in the amount of computation it has to do. That's the secret. It gives you all the power of a trillion parameter model, but for a tiny fraction of the cost. But MOE is just one piece of this amazing puzzle. Kimi's tech stack is packed with other innovations. It's got multi-head latent attention, which lets it process huge amounts of information, like an entire code base, all at once. Then there's the Muon clip optimizer, which was absolutely critical for keeping the training stable at such a massive scale. And get this, native int4 quantization means it can run twice as fast with no loss in accuracy. So you get speed and brains. Okay, so the architecture is impressive, no doubt. But how does it actually perform against the giants, the real heavyweights in the industry? Well, let's look at the hard data. Let's see how Kimi K2.6 does in a head-to-head showdown. And wow, the results really do speak for themselves. On a test called SW Bench Pro, which is all about real-world software engineering tasks, Kimi 2.6 actually beats both GPT-5.4 and Claude Opus 4.6. It also comes out on top in BrowseComp, which tests complex web research. I mean, these aren't just your standard chatbot tests. This is about an AI's ability to actually get real work done. And if the numbers aren't enough for you, here is probably the strongest endorsement you can possibly get. Cursor, which is one of the most popular AI-powered code editors out there, has built its entire next-generation feature set on top of Kimi. When a top developer tool bets its future on your model, well, you know you've got something special. So what can you actually do with all this power? It's a great question. Let's shift away from the benchmarks and talk about the concrete, practical workflows that Kimi is unlocking for developers and enterprise teams right now. The key to Kimi's power is this feature called Agent Swarm. So instead of one AI working step by step, Kimi can deploy up to 100 specialized AI agents that all work on a problem at the same time, in parallel. For something really complicated, like refactoring an entire code base, this can cut the time it takes by over 4 times. It's just a huge speed up. And you might be thinking, this must be a pain to set up. But it's actually shockingly simple. You can integrate Kimi K2 right into your existing coding pipeline with a single command from your terminal. Seriously, you just authenticate with your API key, and you are ready to go in your favorite code editor, whether it's VS Code, Cursor, or Zed. It's that easy. And this agentic approach just unlocks a whole new world of automation. They call one feature vibe coding. You literally describe the vibe of a website, and Kimi builds the whole thing, front end and back end. You can give it a screenshot of a user interface, and it'll write the code.
It can even debug on its own just by looking at visual output or analyze performance charts to recommend changes to your system's architecture. The possibilities here are just incredible.
So finally, let's talk about the big picture, the strategic side of this. The fact that Kimi is open source is, for many businesses, probably its most important feature, especially if you're thinking about custom deployments. This slide really breaks down the key differences. With Kimi, you get a permissive MIT license. That means you can deploy it on your own servers, giving you complete control over your data and your infrastructure. That is totally impossible with the big API-only models. It also means you can fully customize and fine-tune the model for your exact needs, instead of being stuck with a mysterious black box. So, we're going to end on this question. For years, the assumption in the industry has been that only a handful of trillion-dollar companies could build and control the most powerful AI. But Kimi K2.6 is a direct challenge to that whole idea. When an open source model can not only compete, but actually lead on the most complex, high-value tasks, it really makes you wonder, are we watching the beginning of the end for proprietary AI dominance?